When he was leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "I never turn on my staff. When they make mistakes, I carry the can." What changed?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I've accepted responsibility and apologised for the mistakes that I made. But let me say this, Mr. Speaker. Morgan McSweeney helped me change our party and helped me win a landslide election victory, which delivered for them the smallest Tory party in over 100 years. And what's her great achievement? To make it even smaller.
Kemi Badenoch.
The whips have done a great job today. This is like the 37th. Oh, you said, yeah, exactly. Done a great job today getting them cheering. We all know that they've been sick for the last week. Because let's remember, Mr. Speaker, just last week, he told us that he had full confidence in his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. On Sunday, he sacked Morgan McSweeney. Last week, he resigned. Yes. Last week, Mr. Speaker, he was defending the Cabinet Secretary. Now he is sacking him. What changed?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in January she said she had full confidence, 100% confidence, she said, be no more defections from her party. 48 hours later, the Shadow Foreign Minister defected. 8 days after that, the former Home Secretary defected. The only question now is, who's next? She needs to wake up. Her party is dying.
Picture this. The Prime Minister standing at the dispatch box, sweat practically visible under the chamber lights, as Kemi Badenoch unleashes a verbal assault so precise, so devastating, that even his own backbenchers cannot hide their grimaces. This was not just another Wednesday at Prime Minister's Questions. This was a masterclass in political demolition, and Keir Starmer had front-row seats to his own undoing. Before we dive into this absolute carnage, 94% of you watch these videos without subscribing to Britain Watchdog. That needs to change, folks. Hit that subscribe button right now. It costs nothing but means everything. We bring you the unfiltered truth about Westminster that the mainstream media will not touch. Now, back to the bloodbath.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is demonstrating stratospheric levels of delusion if he thinks the problem is on this side of the House. And he didn't say anything about why the Cabinet Secretary is going. We know the truth. It is because he is throwing everyone under a bus except himself. And, Mr. Speaker, the Mandelson episode was not an isolated incident. A few weeks ago, he announced a peerage for one Matthew Doyle, his former Director of Communications. Immediately after that, the Sunday Times published on the front page that Doyle campaigned for a man charged with child sex offences. Yet, despite the Prime Minister knowing this, he gave Doyle a job for life in the House of Lords anyway. Why?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Matthew Doyle did not give a full account of his actions. And on Monday, I promised my party and my country there would be change. And yesterday, I removed the whip from Matthew Doyle. I'll tell you what other action we've taken, Mr. Speaker. Along with the Safeguarding Minister, I and this government have introduced the most far-reaching violence against women and girls strategy. And I'll tell you what else we've done. This government has introduced a pay rise for millions of working-class women. What did the Leader of the Opposition do? She opposed it. This government's introducing greater protection for women at work. What did the Leader of the Opposition do? She opposed it. And I'll tell you what else she opposes. This government removing the disgusting rape clause that they put in place.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister pretends not to know about Matthew Doyle. It was on the front page of the Sunday Times. He cannot explain why he gave this man a peerage, and I think they should be wondering why they're still cheering for him after that. And the Prime Minister, sometimes likes to claim, as he just did, that he cares about violence against women. The truth is, he only cares about the victims when he's trying to save his own skin. They can shake their heads. We saw it with grooming gangs. We saw it with Mandelson. And now we see it with Doyle. Isn't that what a former prosecutor would call an established pattern of behaviour?
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to take no lectures from the Tories in standards in public life. She defended Partygate for months and months and months. And even now she says it was overblown. The Shadow Foreign Secretary broke the ministerial code by bullying. Boris Johnson kept her. The leader of the opposition promoted her. She sits on her front bench. Her former Shadow Justice Secretary complained about not seeing enough white faces in Birmingham, and she was too weak to sack him for racism.
Nobody buys it, Mr. Speaker. Not even the Labour women, because they know he always puts the Downing Street Boys Club first. And how dare he criticise us? We weren't the ones stuffing government with hypocrites and paedophile apologists. He can't build a team, Mr. Speaker. He has no plan. He can't even run his own office, let alone the country. He is now dealing with a new scandal of appointing someone who campaigned for a man convicted of having indecent pictures of girls as young as 10. Isn't the Prime Minister ashamed that that will be his legacy?
The chamber was already electric when Badenoch rose to her feet. You could feel the tension, that delicious anticipation before a proper parliamentary scrap, and Badenoch did not disappoint. She came armed with receipts, ready to dismantle Starmer's carefully crafted image of competent leadership, one appointment scandal at a time. Leadership integrity, she began, her voice cutting through the chamber like a scalpel. Accountability, competence. The Prime Minister speaks these words often, but do his actions match his rhetoric? The question hung in the air like smoke. Then came the hammer. Matthew Doyle, Morgan Mweeny, two appointments that have haunted Starmer like ghosts at a feast, and Badenoch was about to perform an exorcism. She laid out the case methodically, professionally, devastatingly. Poor judgment, questionable vetting, a pattern of deflecting blame rather than accepting responsibility. The Prime Minister tells us he has reformed his party, Badenoch continued, her tone dripping with scepticism. Yet when faced with his own failures in judgment, he points fingers, he deflects, he blames everyone except himself. Ooh, the backbenchers erupted, Conservative MPs roaring approval, Labour MPs shifting uncomfortably, and Starmer, standing there attempting to project confidence whilst clearly rattling through his mental filing cabinet for an adequate response. When he finally spoke, Starmer went straight for the defensive playbook: electoral success, policy achievements for women, party reform. He rattled off accomplishments like a man reading from a shopping list, trying desperately to redirect attention from the question actually asked. Classic deflection technique. The leader of the opposition speaks of integrity, Starmer shot back, his voice rising with that familiar prosecutorial edge, yet conveniently forgets her own party's record, the contradictions, the failures, the chaos they left behind. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Attacking your opponent's past does not answer questions about your present. Badenoch had asked about specific appointments, specific judgments, specific accountability. Starmer responded with broad strokes about electoral mandates and policy records. It was like being asked why you crashed the car and responding by listing all the times you successfully parallel parked. The chamber knew it. Twitter knew it within minutes. Political journalists were already crafting their Starmer struggles at PMQs headlines before he even sat down. The court of public opinion moves fast these days, and the verdict was brutal. What makes this clash particularly significant is what it reveals about Starmer's vulnerabilities. He won a massive majority, yes. He holds the power, absolutely. But power without political dexterity is just a target on your back. Badenoch identified the weak point, accountability, that fundamental principle voters actually care about, and exploited it ruthlessly. This was not just about 2 appointments. This was about trust, about whether the Prime Minister holds himself to the same standards he demands of others, about hypocrisy, that most toxic ingredient in British political discourse. Parliament erupted, Starmer crumbled, Badenoch buried him, and somewhere in Whitehall, Labour strategists are having a very long meeting about how to prevent this from happening again.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my legacy is changing my party and winning a general election. And I'll tell you this, I kicked my former leader out of my party. Her former leader, Liz Truss, broke the economy and has descended into bonkers conspiracy theories. I kicked her out of Parliament. She's too weak to kick her out of their party.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, he hasn't apologised for appointing Matthew Doyle because he won't take responsibility. He never does, and they know it. The Prime Minister is now telling everyone that he's never lost a fight. It's because he won't step into the ring. He's never lost a fight. He's walked away from welfare reform. He won't stand up to the unions. He won't stand up to China. He can't even stand up to Mauritius. He's had, Mr. Speaker, he's had 3 cabinet secretaries, 4 chiefs of staff, 5 director of communications in just 18 months. And now he is mired in yet another scandal. Does he ever look in the mirror and ask himself, is the real problem staring him in the face?
Mr. Speaker, I delivered a landslide victory for our government. Only 4 people have ever led the Labour Party to victory in a general election. I am one of them. And she talks about numbers. Let us remember, Mr. Speaker, 5 Prime Ministers, 7 Chancellors, 8 Home Secretaries, 8 Foreign Secretaries, 16 Housing Secretaries, all completely useless, all failed Britain, and this Prime Minister's clearing up the mess. She comes here every week desperately fighting to save her dying party. I'm fighting to change our country. Interest rates down. Inflation down, waiting lists down, child poverty down, and I'll tell you another thing's down, the number of Tory MPs.